But there are some implications with him making all NBA, which I did want to kind of discuss
Hmm.
with you for a minute. So his contract goes from 224 over a 5 year period to 269. So he's going to be getting $45 million more, 9 million on average for the next couple of seasons. So like financially, like do you think that the Pistons maybe try to what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe kind of accelerate what they're doing to try to maximize the window that they have with Cade with his new rookie supermax.
I think it's possible. Again, he's definitely worthy of that bonus that he got. He's definitely earned that. But I don't know, I have a problem with how they even handle the distribution of the money with that, because now with the money that Cade gets out of that, that takes away from the cap space that the Pistons have. And I think that's absolutely ridiculous. I feel like this is a thing that puts teams, I don't want to say because the Pistons are not a small market team, but middle market teams that are not celebrated like the Lakers or the Miami Heat or New York. Like, I feel like this is a problem that these kind of teams run into, where when they're drafted players become who they were expected to be, it kind of cripples the team to an extent. I feel like if there was like maybe a halfway kind of distribution where half that money comes from the league, the other half comes from cap space, cool, I'm fine with that, because it doesn't put them in a position where, because like again, looking at their cap space, they go from what 27 million where they had before K made it. Now they have around like what 19 million.
Yeah.
So I feel like knowing that, it puts them in a more difficult position with the veterans that they're going to have to decide on bringing back, going after other guys, on the market or in trades and whatnot. Like, it just makes it that much harder. And I think like the Pistons knew that. I think they understood that that was going to be difficult. But again, I don't think that's something that they should have to be dealing with. I think that's something that the league should find a way to kind of like wiggle around to keep futuristic hopes alive for these kind of teams, to not only keep these players but be able to add more and keep parity high in the NBA, instead of it just being the same 2, 3, 4, 5 teams that are the ones winning every single year in and out. So I mean, I don't know. I think the Pistons had an idea, but I don't know. I just think the league could be doing a much better job in terms of how they distribute that.
Yeah, I mean those rookie maxes. Same thing happened with Tyrese Halliburton. You know, you sign that
Right.
224. You have incentives to get up to that 270. Like SGA has a chance to sign like a $300 million contract. Like just absurd money. But I'm happy for Cade. He deserves that bag. And the way I look at it is the Pistons would never be able to sign a player of Cade Cunningham's stature in free agency.
Right.
Like that's the way I look at it. You know, the money is the money. But the way I kind of look at his contract going from a 25% max going up to a 30% max now because he hit those incentives, I think the Pistons are going to have to operate as an over the cap team. That way you can kind of afford to bring Malik Beasley back by using the non-taxpayer mid-level exception.
Hmm.
Um, you can go over the cap a little bit to re-sign a Dennis Schroeder because you do have his early bird rights, and you can kind of just finagle it that way. So I know they've talked about trying to run it back as much as possible because they really want to see what this group can do fully healthy. They obviously had an incredible season, without Jaden Ivey for 40 some odd games, and they still got to 44 wins and finished as a 6th seed. But
Right.
did want to kind of touch on like the cap stuff. Pistons go from a projected 28 million to now 19 million. In a free agency class, it kind of sucks if you ask me.
Right.
There's not like I see people talking about. We talked about it. I think last time you were on, like Bobby Portis, Nas Reed. They're on player options. Like
Right.
at the end of the day, like if those teams know that those players are leaving, then you get into sign and trade situations, and
Right.
it's just like how much do you want to trade for said player? Like I saw an article today about Andre Drummond. 5 teams that might trade for Andre Drummond. The Pistons were one of them, and I'm like, I don't know if the Pistons would trade for Andre Drummond.
Yeah, at this point, I can't see them wanting to do that. They're in a position to where, again, they want to try to keep as much of the band together as possible. even though Trajan didn't seem like he was opposed to, other options of what could happen. Like you said, hey, they might get other options from somebody else. Like there could be other teams that are throwing them more money and giving them different options, different stuff for their families that they want to think about. And I mean, obviously the Pistons are not like the sexiest destination, even after coming off a 44-win season. But I don't know. It just seems like it becomes that much more difficult now, um, because of the situation with Cade's money. Again, it's not a bad problem to have, just because even if that's the case, you still have somebody to build around. And knowing that you were able to win as much as you did with guys next to him complimenting him, like Tobias Harris, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Malik Beasley, as long as the core guys are healthy, if you can just kind of fine tune a bit of those pieces around him, you don't need to jump out the window and try to put your name in there for Giannis or Devin Booker or those super huge number name guys. Like, it doesn't have to be those kind of guys that put you over the top, especially in the Eastern Conference that's changing right before our eyes. Like, Boston is probably going to come down because of the JT injury. Cleveland could shake things up. I saw a report about them maybe wanting to explore Evan Mobley as their number one option. I mean, I think that's interesting, but again, we'll see what they end up doing. It's a lot of wiggle room for the Pistons to shoot up, and I don't think they have to do a whole lot to maybe push up in the East from where they were just at. So, yeah, it's a lot that goes with it, but again, I think the Pistons are still in a very advantageous position, fortunately.
Yeah, same here. Like, a lot of their guys are very young. They have 8 players on their roster that aren't even over the age of 25.
Right.
And if you think about that, like the strides that they made this season, they're truly remarkable. Like OKC is the outlier. They're the youngest team in the NBA, and they're in the Western Conference
Right.
Finals right now. It's just like they do such a good job at drafting. Like the 2022 draft was probably their best draft. Getting Chet, Jalen Williams, and
Mhm.
I can't think of the maybe Case and Wallace. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I mean they just everyone on their team, man.